Everyone will figure it out. Okay. I'll let everybody know.
Okay. We're going to start right on top the Mishnah, Ayin Gimel. That's 73. Okay. All right. Thank Hashem. We're able to learn Torah every day. And in the source of our learning, we have this in English immediately. Learning, Nishmas, Nisanos have been Mitzion, and the Refuah Shlema for everyone that needs safety of Eretz Yisrael and the return of the hostages safely. Okay. Mishnah says, the language over here is an interesting expression, but literally it means in the following, we save them by their souls. Now, what do you mean we save them by their souls or save them by their life? We save them from committing a sin by killing them before they commit the act. That's how we save them. We kill them so that they're saved from the first one that as you see someone, normally you see someone doing a sin, you're a witness, and you'll tell the court later, right? If he's violating a command, you would tell him, if you continue to do this, there'll be a punishment. Here, it's not like that. Here, you see him doing the sin, you go and kill him. All right. First of all, the first one is someone is chasing his friend to kill him. So that you interfere with that act by killing the Raidav, by killing the pursuer. Yeah. Shoot first, right? If someone is running after a man for sodomy, also you kill him first. Are we assuming this is rape? Yeah, this is of course rape. This is not, if it's consensual, then we probably wouldn't say this. You don't just go, you don't just kill people. Like, this is because it's rape. That's what I'm assuming. Right? Unless you have a note over there. Running sounds like it's rape. Yeah. Someone that's running after a married, not a betrothed girl. She's betrothed. Yeah. Also rape. But someone that's running after an animal, or someone that's chasing after the animal is for bestiality. Someone that's violating the Shabbos, or someone that's worshiping the idols. You don't kill them. You tell the court. You become a witness. You tell the court. Right? Wow. The rocks that they throw are not to kill the person, just to stop them from driving on their streets. But yeah.
But why this one? How come you can't kill the people?
The reason why is
like basically the worst and
the
previous.
The reason why is because we would only interfere with killing the person as either he's doing some harm to the victim. Now, what would that harm be? Either it's rape, or let's say if it's a girl, she's losing her virginity, which means it changes her status, which affects who she is. So then we'll interfere. How do we know that if one person is chasing another person to kill him, that you're allowed to save the pursuant, right? By killing the pursuer. So do not stand by your friend's blood. You can't stand by when this is happening. You have to interfere. So the Gemara asks, is that what this pasuk is coming to teach me? We need this for something else. This pasuk is teaching me something else. Let's say, so you see someone that's drowning in a river, or he's getting dragged by an animal, or there's bandits that are coming. How do you know? How do you know that you have to step in to protect him?
True.
It says that you shouldn't stand by in your brother's blood. So now I'm using this pasuk to tell me something else. Not that you have to interfere when someone is getting killed, but that you have to kill the murder, but that you have to interfere if you see him drowning.
But what if someone doesn't know how to swim?
Then there's nothing you can do.
Let the friend die.
Yeah,
It's better than both.
it's better than both, right?
Okay.
There's stories like that. They're terrible stories. Talking about someone that doesn't know how to swim, trying to save someone that's drowning. It's like very well intended, but it doesn't end well. Gemara says, you're right. That's that pasuk, Leisamin al Dam Riacha, doesn't actually tell you that you're allowed to kill the person that's chasing another person to kill him, the pursuer. Doesn't tell you that. That pasuk is telling me that you have to jump in if the person's drowning, that you have to jump in, to pull him away from the attacking animal. How do you know that you're allowed to kill him? If you just use the pasuk, right? If you have $1 and you spent it, you don't have it anymore. So if you have one pasuk and you use it to teach me that you have to step in, so then you don't have it to teach me that you're allowed to kill the pursuer. The Gemara says, "Asi b'kal v'chaymer minara marasa." This we know from Kal v'chaymer. Kal v'chaymer goes like this: Ma nara marasa shlei ba'al el pigma amater nitin lahatzila b'nafshe. If someone is raping a young girl that's betrothed, you're allowed to step in and kill the rapist. Now, what harm is being done here? She's being raped. She's not getting killed, just being raped. She was a virgin, and now she's going to be not a virgin. So just for that itself, you're allowed to take the life of the rapist. Right? If someone's coming to do murder, that's not just changing status. Right? The Gemara doesn't go into psychological damage. That's a modern issue. It existed back then, but I don't think people's expectations were the same. So, of what life had in store for them. So, right, so if someone's coming to kill, of course you're allowed, if you can take the life just from the blemish that's being done from a rapist. So for sure you can take the life if it's coming to murder. That's the Kal v'chaymer. Now, notice we didn't say the first part of this. We started off in the middle. We didn't say where we know that you're allowed to save the life of that you're allowed to kill the rapist. You just made an assumption and then continued on from there. We missed the first step. Okay, so the Gemara is going to come back to that. But first it says, are you allowed to carry out a punishment because of just logic? Kal v'chaymer, that's enough to tell you that we're going to kill someone. There's a rule, that you can't get punishments out of Kal v'chaymers. The Gemara says the Bei Rebbe Tana. This was taught in the yeshiva of Rebbe that Hekeshahu, that it's really not a Kal v'chaymer, it's a comparison between two verses, which that you can use to tell us punishments. What is that? It says This is talking about by the rapist. It says that this is comparable to someone that's coming to do murder. In other words, that when there's murder, it's only the murderer that's guilty and not the victim, right? So it's over here, it's only the rapist that's going to be guilty and not the victim. I don't know where the word me'ata goes, if it goes in the question or if me'ata goes afterwards. I'm curious to see what it says in here. No. Me'ata hareza belong. Okay, that's it. And what do we learn from the murder? When we use the murder in the case of rape, we're using it as a parable. Really, we thought it was coming to teach us something about the murder. It's coming to teach us something about the rapist. Really, it's coming to do the opposite. It's coming to teach us something about the murder. We do a comparison between the murderer and the Naram Rasa, the girl that's being raped. Just like the Naram Rasa, the girl that's being raped, you're allowed to save the girl by killing the rapist. Also, the Reitzeach, you're allowed to kill the murderer. Interesting. What's obvious, what was a Kal V'chomer now turned into a Hekesh, that we learn it because of the comparison in the Psukim. We switched it from a Kal V'chomer to a comparison in the Psukim, and what we gained by that is that we can now learn the halacha of how we are allowed to punish the murderer. We punish the murderer by stopping him, by taking his life. Now we have to go back to the basis, the premise of all of this was that you're allowed to save the girl by killing the rapist. Where did we get that from? So it says, "V'naram rasa gufaminolan." Where do we know that you're allowed to kill the rapist? The Tana de Bei Rabbi Yishmael was taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yishmael. The Tana de Bei Rabbi Yishmael, Vein Meshiela. Over there, when it's saying why there's no punishment to the girl that's being raped, it says because she cried out and no one was there to save her. So the words are Vein Meshiela. There was no one there that was to save her. Psukim say that she was in the field and no one was there to save her. So hayesh mishiela, but if there would be someone there to save her, the chol davar shiachal leishia, he would be able to save her in any way that he's able to. Now that would include also killing the rapist. So we learned from Vein Meshiela that there was no one there to save her, that you're allowed to save her in any way possible. Okay, so that would be our source, that you can kill the person that's raping the Nara Marasa. And from that, we learn also to the Reitzeach, you're allowed to kill the murderer. Okay. Gufa, we learned before, and we mentioned in passing, and we're going to go back to analyze this. How do we know that you have to step in if you see someone drowning, or if you see someone getting dragged away by an animal, or if robbers are coming, that you have to save him? Do not stand by when your brother's blood is being spilled. Gemara says, this Gemara did this before also. This you learn from this pasuk. We learn this from another source. What's the other source? It says, how do you know they have to return a lost object, someone's property? How do you know that if his life is being lost, that you have to return that as well? Yeah, I found your life. How do you know that you have to return that? That you should return him. Shivaisala could mean usually you return it to him. Now we're saying you return him to him. Right? Shivaisai life. It's return it, meaning the object. But the Gemara is learning it that you return himself. You give him back his life if he was drowning or something like that. Okay, so why do we say that it's Leisaman al Dam Riacha? We have a source from Hashavas Aveda. They have to return his life. So if it would just be from Hashavas Aveda, Hava Mina Hanimili Benafshe. I would have thought that's only if you have to do this on your own. If you're able to jump in to save him, that's great. But if you have to go and hire someone, you have to call the Ghostbusters. Yes, he said. You have to hire a private lifeguards or something, rescue crew, the private rescue crew. How do you know they have to hire them? So tell me that for that it teaches me Kamash Malan, that teaches me that you have to actually hire people to go and help. Okay, Tana Rabbanan. Study in a brisa. Whether or not whether someone that is chasing after his friend to kill him. It says whether there. Okay. I didn't know if the word echad meant an individual or if echad meant whether it's this or whether it's that. Sometimes the word echad can mean an individual or something can mean echad zeh, whether this, whether that. So whether someone is chasing after him to kill him. Bachar Zachar is running after a man for sodomy. Bachar Nara Marasa is running after a girl for rape, to rape her. Bachar Chaybi Misas Bezdin. Or it's not a Nara Marasa, or it's not a girl that's betrothed. It's one of the relatives that would be a capital punishment if you would live with it. Bachar Chaybi Krisis. Or after someone that's another type of relative that would be Chayv Karas. Matzilan Aisan Benafshay. We rescue the person from committing the sin by killing him.
By the way, if several days ago someone asked you the question, does it matter if Baistid's killing them or Hashem's killing them, and you said it doesn't matter. I think here we see it in favor because we're saying even if he's high. I don't remember the exact.
Yeah. Let's say it's not such a severe sin. It's a negative prohibition. It's a kain gadol. This is very hard to imagine. A kain gadol with all his the 8 clothing that we're learning about in the parsha is chasing after a widow, right? Raping a widow. Yeah. So or a grusha v'chalitza l'kayin hedit, or it's a kayin hedyet that's chasing after a divorcee, or a chalutza, also a type of divorcee. So in matil nes menafshim, them you don't save by killing the kayin gadol or killing the kayin hedyet, right? That's a lesser punishment that the court will deal with later. Nevda ba'avera, once the act is committed, then in matil nes benafshi, then you don't step in to kill the person. It's already been done. If he's going to do it again, that's a different story. But if once the act has been done, then don't say, but he forfeited his life 10 minutes ago. Yesh la Meshia.
If those cases are not double jeopardy, if he does it again, the same avera he did the first time would not apply. If you think about it, it's not the case of where she was a virgin before, and then which we're going to write. These 2 cases are exactly.
We'll see. That's coming up in a second.
I got to shut my mind off.
So the pursuer may not be killed to stop a second attack because it's already lost her honor.
1 second. That's coming up soon.
Okay, good. Sorry, I read ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So that you're right. It's nevda ba'avera. By that case of nevda ba'avera, if she had already lost her honor, so then in other words, she wasn't the virgin anymore. In that case, it's not all these cases were the same. But in that case, then we wouldn't be able to kill the attacker. Yesh la Meshia, if she has another way of saving herself. Ein matzil nes benafshi, then we don't kill the person. So she has another way. She could slam the door and lock it, or whatever, put him in handcuffs. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda says that let's say the girl says, don't kill him. So then we don't kill him. Obviously, that doesn't mean that there's consent. The girl is being raped, but she's worried that if you're gonna try to kill him, he's gonna kill her, and she's more concerned about her life than she is about being raped. So then we don't kill him, even if we think that we can. The halacha switches here, as we'll see in a moment. Minani mili. How do we know these words of what we were saying here? That there's this difference between the different types of averos when you can kill the person, when not. Amar Kra. Pasuk says, you don't do anything to the girl that was raped. She gets no punishment. She cried out, and no one came to save her. Ein lenara chet mavis. The girl has no sin of death. Right? It wasn't her fault. Now, when the Torah writes the word nara, it leaves out the hey at the end. And it writes it as nara with a nun aleph resh kamatz. There's no kamatz in there. It's a Korean ksiv. And it's very common in the Torah. Almost all the time it says nara without the hey, without the last hey. So if you read that with just the letters, it would write nar, which means the boy, the lad, as opposed to nara, which is the maiden or the girl. So we learn like this. When it says nar, and if you just look at the text, the Masorah, at the Masorah text, so then zezacha, that's referring to a male. Nara, that then it's, if you look at the reading of it, you look at the vowels, then zunara marasa, this is referring to the girl that was betrothed. Chet, in other words, the girl does not have, or the boy slash girl does not have a sin. What sin would be referring to? That would be if it was someone that would be a curse punishment. And maves, when it says a sin of death, so those are all of the cases where you're allowed to step in and save the victim by the death, by killing the attacker. Kolani lamali. Why do you have to use all of these cases? The nara marasa, the boy, the chayve krisis, chayve misbezdin. It says tzrichi. It's necessary to say each of those individually. Dichas rachman and arfa would only say the boy mishum de lavorche, because that's an abnormal way of having relations, the sodomy, and so therefore we would say that what he's doing is because it's abnormal. So this is a very shameful act, and therefore you should be allowed to kill the attacker, the rapist. Avalnara, but for a girl, the orche, that's a typical act. That's relations in the normal manner. So a malay, I would say that maybe you're not allowed to kill him. He's doing something that's natural. Because of Rahman and Nara, if it would say just the Nara, I would say that why are you allowed to kill the attacker, the rapist? Because he's changing her status from being a virgin to being a bu'ula. Avalnar, but for the boy, like a pagamla, there's no change of status if the boy is sodomized. A Malaya would say that you can't kill him. Because Rahmanahani, let's say it said both of those. The boy and the Nara Marasa, the girl that's betrothed. I would say, Mishum Dahai Lavorche, Hu, Vahaika Pagamla. Each one has its own independent reason. But both of them is the reason to kill the attacker. Abel Shara Rayas to Urchayu, but when it comes to other arayas, forbidden relations, forbidden marriages, which those were all natural, and there's no pagam. Why is there no pagam? Because he's not a virgin anymore. It was his, he's living with his mother, daughter, or, one of those relations that are capital punishment, or a married woman, or something like that. All of those, there's no pagam. She doesn't change her status, right? There's not a lot of pagam over there. Okay.
So pagam only refers to change from virtue.
That's what it seems. A malay, I would say not. I would say that you can't kill the rapist. Because the Rahman Chet, so it has to say Chet, and Chet would tell me that any sin also, which includes the Chaybe Krisis. Because Rahman Chet, if it would only say the sin, I would think that the sin would apply also to like a Kayin Gadol that's raping a widow. Because Rahman Maves, so it says the death penalty, that's only those more severe ones. Because Rahman Maves, if it would only say Maves and not Chet, I wouldn't have known Chaybe Krisis, those other types of prohibitions. Because Rahman Chet, so it has to say Chet, Maves has to say both. Gemara says, look, Rahman Chet, Maves, by Nar v'Nara. Why does it have to say the boy and the girl? It could just say Chet and Maves, and that would automatically tell me the ones that have a death penalty, which is both Nar and Nara. Nara Maras has a death penalty. Remember? Mamra says death penalty. What was it? It was skila. Skila, right?
No. For the Jew,
Yeah.
the non-Jew.
The sword or
Sword.
machlekes or chenek.
The other.
Yeah. Reb Shimon or something. Strangulation. So it's relayed by Narvanara. Very good. So you guys are
We
learning.
learned well.
They're quoting to me for previous Gemaras. Okay.
No, we learned that when you weren't here.
They remember only what I don't teach.
I just know we just learned that the other day.
I'll put it different. You remember what you teach. Not because I didn't teach it.
We also remember. Yeah, Allah has come even better.
Gemara says Enochanami. You're right. It didn't have to say Nar V'Nara. Well, Nar V'Nara, so why does it say it? It's coming to tell me when you're not allowed to kill the attacker, or you're not allowed to kill the person that's doing the violation. It's coming to exclude something. Only by these cases you're allowed to kill, but not by the other case. What are the other cases that we're excluding? Well, one of them is coming to exclude someone that's worshiping idols, that you don't kill the person that's worshiping idols. You have to wait for the court to do that. It's a good one. The other one is coming to tell me that if someone is running to live with an animal or to violate Shabbos, you don't kill him. Rab Shimon ben Yochai, one second. I have a machlekes about this. There is an opinion of Rab Shimon ben Yochai that says that if someone is running to worship idols, you're allowed to kill him before he gets them. Not to stop him. So,
We're saving him.
Saving him, right? So according to Shimon ben Yochai, what do you do with the extra word? Because the extra word is coming to exclude that case, and Reb Shimon has that case. It's not excluded. So the Gemara says, according to Reb Shimon ben Yochai, I still have two exclusions. One is if someone is trying to live with an animal, you don't kill him until he gets to court. The other one is someone who's trying to violate Shabbos. You don't kill him until he gets to court. Could have entered your mind to say Shabbos michil chil me'avid's kavim. Could have said that it says the word chilul by Shabbos to profane. It says the word chilul by avidus kechavim to profane, by idolatry. I could have thought that since it says chilul here and it says chilul there, I could have thought that the halacha is the same because that would be a verbal analogy. So Kamash Malan comes to tell me that I don't do that. And Shabbos is different, and Shabbos is an exception. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon, Reb Shimon ben Yochai's son, Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon, Damar Mechalas Shabbos Natzila benafshe. You're allowed to kill him. Yep. Someone that's violating Shabbos. Dasya Shabbos Michil Chil Mavid Chum, because he actually has that limud. It says
about to
violate Shabbos. You stop him before he right. Ma'ikal Meimar. What are you going to say about that? You don't have two things to exclude. One is coming to exclude if he's trying to live with the animal. The other one, it's I did the kasrach mananar, kasranami nara. We're not going to learn from that. It's just because it says the word nar, so it says also nara, or because it says nara, maybe it says nar. But that was the typical way of writing it, so we're not going to get a limit out of that. Yeah. Okay. Let's go further. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda says that if the girl says, "Don't kill the rapist, let him be," so then we don't kill him. However, the Rabbanan say no, we do kill him. No, again, this is not consent. This is she's afraid. Don't kill him so he doesn't kill her, right? He doesn't.
He's using her like a shield?
I don't know. How does it describe it there? Allow my pursuer to violate me in order that he will not kill her. She may not be rescued at the cost of her pursuer's life. It's not because we're afraid that he may kill her. That's not why we're doing this. But the reason why we're listening to her and we're not going to kill him is because the halacha changes when she says that. It's not because of the fear. There's going to be a change in halacha. You'll see in a second. The Micah method, what's the machlekes here? Amar Rava says the makpedes al pigma al pigama umenichate shleya. She doesn't want to be violated, but she says to leave him because she doesn't want to be killed. Rabbanan Savri, the Rabbanan hold a pigama kapid rachmana very makpedes al pigama. She doesn't want to be violated, and the Torah doesn't want it to be violated, and therefore, if she is violated, we are allowed to save her by killing him. Doesn't matter what comments she makes. Rabbi Yehuda holds, Rabbi Yehuda says no, there's a little bit of logic in here. The reason why we're saying that you're allowed to kill the rapist is because we're assuming that she's going to try to protect herself, and by risking her life in doing that. That she's more concerned about her pagam than her own life. And therefore, this person is really a murderer. And now when she comes in and says that I care about my own life more than being violated, then he's not a murderer, then he's just a rapist. What was the Rabbi Yehuda's adding in a detail here that the rapist is going to become a murderer because she is going to want to protect her dignity. But this woman, she's not giving her life over to death. If that's the case, then he's not a murderer, and now the halacha changes. We can't kill him. That's an interesting explanation here.
Doesn't rapists have to marry the girl?
Yeah, but here she was betrothed. That was if it's a woman that wasn't betrothed. Here he's prohibited to. She's prohibited to him.
Not just married, be stuck with her forever.
Yeah.
That's the halacha.
I'm saying maybe it was like Bill Gates or something.
What does that mean? You get a lot of money? Amalei Rav Papa Abaya. Rav Papa says to Abaya, says like this: Almana l'kayin gadol nami. If there's an almana that's being raped by a kayin gadol, why don't we step in? Kapagamla. She's becoming a chalala. She used to be a widow. She's permitted to a regular kohen. Now the kayin gadol is going to live with her. He's going to change her status. She's going to end up becoming a chalala. Which will ruin her status. She won't be able to marry a kohen. This is not. This is a shameful act. Why don't we step in to save her from this by killing the kohen gadol? That's just a minor. What's the word that's used for pigam? Blemish. It's a minor blemish. She's going to turn into a halala. Rashi adds in that the child from such an offspring won't be a mamzer. In other cases, the child will be a mamzer. That's a real blemish. No, it's not really the child that's just concerned of, but nevertheless, that shows on the type of prohibition that it is. It's a type of, not prohibition, but a type of shame, the act, how bad it is. But by the kain gadol, the child just becomes a halala. Okay.
Wait, so she's both the halala and the ensuing child?
She doesn't. Will she become a halal? Yeah, she'll become a halal.
But the kohen gadol is still married to her.
Kohen gadol.
He didn't rape her. He just
no. He's going to rape her.
And stay married with her.
No.
But he's just a one-time slam.
So why does she become a halala? He's not marrying her.
I think just from living with her. And if she ever lives with someone that's prohibited to her, she becomes a halala.
So like if a regular Jewish woman has relations with another Jew, she doesn't become a halala.
Right. That's because that was a acceptable relations.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be with the kedushin, and it wasn't with the kedushin. Okay. But if it wasn't an acceptable relations, for whatever reason, it was a relative of some sort, then she'll become a zaina. If it was a kayin, that she wasn't allowed to. If it was a almana, or if it was a gerusha or a, then she leaves that status. She becomes a halala.
What happens to the Kohen Gadol?
Nothing happens.
We leave him alone.
Yeah.
He still stays as a Kohen Gadol.
Yeah, well,
Yom
that's a
Kippur?
good question. If he's going to still be the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, it's going to be a scandal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it seems a disgrace that the Gemara is concerned with is the disgrace of the victim, not the disgrace of the one who's doing it. Unlike in Ben Sora or Mora, there was the disgrace of what the person was doing, not who he was doing it to.
Here, it's because there's a disgrace to the victim, we're able to kill the attacker.
And that would be the reason why he's not killed, for to save him from doing avodah zarah.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right. We don't have the victim there.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, okay. When it says a sin, this is talking about that you're allowed to protect the victim if the sin was a chai b'krisis. Gemara says, there's a question on this. Just 1 second. If someone lives with his sister, that's a chai b'krisis. Now, if someone lives with his sister that's a virgin, then there's the penalty as well that he has to pay to the father. It turns out here it's probably his own father that he has to pay it to. He has to pay to his father the money that she lost from becoming a beula. She used to be a basula virgin, now she's not. So 1 second. If he forfeits his life by having this relations, we had a rule that if someone forfeits his life, he does not have to pay a penalty. You only get the more severe punishment. You don't get even if he's not getting killed. But the question is that over here, we have one of the cases in this brisa or Mishnah that says, it's a Mishnah. So this one of the cases of which is chai b'krisis. 1 second. If he's living with if a brother is living with his sister, then that would be he forfeits his life. Why would he have to pay the penalty? What do you mean done at the same time? It's one act.
Yeah, but both violations.
What are both violations? He loses his life, and the obligation to pay the money is both the relations. His losing his life and the relations. It's the same act. We divide it up on the Shabbos. The Gemara is going to do that in a second, by the way. Okay, so the Gemara answers, Amru Rabbana Kamed Rav Chisda. The sages said this in front of Rav Chisda. The sages said that there's 2 acts, there's 2 stages of the relations. It says, it goes like this. Mishas ha'ara depagma iftale miktala. What does it mean, iftala miktala? Iftar la miktala.
Exempt for being killed.
I would say the opposite. I would say that's when he is. Oh, iftar. Iftar la miktala means not he's exempt from being killed. He's supposed to be killed. He was already. He's forfeits his life to be killed. 18. Let's see. Oh, Iftala Miktala, 19, you're right. Because scripture, what does it say over here? It says that the scriptures ordains that the attacker be killed. Now, a Nara is blemished as soon as the attack initiates into the first. Yeah, it's interesting. I would like the Gemara to say something else, and it's not saying that. what I wanted the Gemara to say was that at the moment that they have the first part of the relations, that's when he forfeits his life. And when does he have to pay the money? That's only at the end of the relation, right? So it's two separate times. I think that's what the Gemara means to say, but it's saying it like that this is the time. This is the pagam. The pagam. Then it's the moment that he forfeits his life. When is that pagam? That's only at the initial part of the relation. So,
but wait, if it's the initial part of relations, when he forfeits his life, he's not chayav to pay later on. The same case of breaking something.
No, that's because he forfeits his life the whole time. That's okay. And that's what they mean. Okay, very good. Yeah, Dr. Stein just explained this to me. But you see, we have to get over the forfeiting the life. That's what it means. Iftala miktala. Once he's already finished the act, the first part of the act, now there's no more. You can't kill him anymore. Iftala miktala. And when do you? So it's not when he's chayiv. It's when he's exempt. Because if he has a second act, so then she was already blemished, and now there's no death penalty on him. He doesn't forfeit his life on that, on the second act. So here, because of the initial stage is when he was chayiv, and after that he's exempt. So but from death, and then the later on is when he has the monetary fee comes in.
But when it comes,
and it does come in at the end.
Oh.
The he only has to pay the money at the end. Because, see, what we're doing over here is we're saying like this. We're saying that she could be she could still be considered, she could still have her basulim and still be considered a ba'ula because the initial act of relations took place. The initial act of relations, she's already disgraced by the initial act of relations, but what does he have to pay for when she's not a virgin anymore? And that would only be at the end of the relations where she's not a virgin.
Dr. Stein is having such a trouble here. Calm down.
According to the opinion,
blood pressure.
that the ba'ula it's a one-step process. He's not chayav later on because guess what? He's already chayav in his creases or whatever. According, we haven't learned yet, to the guy that says it's 2 steps. It's the initial, like I'm getting close here, and then now we're doing it. Then because it's 2 steps. So the first one is chayav.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to speak in Russian.
One second. Dr. Stein, you're telling me the next line. Hold it.
I can't stop learning it.
You're excited. Honey, the Gemara says 1 second.
Oh, I didn't realize it's the next line.
This works out well according to the opinion that says that what's the initial stage of the relations? It's called over here the kissing. It means the touching of the organs, but not to actually enter inside. Ella, so then if that's the case, so she's already loses her status before she loses any of the virginity. So then that would be two complete separate stages. Ella lamanda marzuach nasasara. But if according to the opinion that says that the initial stage of relations is when the corona enters into her body, she would already lose her status. She was not just lose her status; she's already lose part of the virginity. And then therefore he should already owe the money. So it's the same, both stages are coming together, according to this opinion. Elam Rav Chisda, that was what the sages told to Rav Chisda, that maybe we could divide up the 2 stages here, and that's how. Rav Chisda says back, because of this question, that it would only fit with one opinion. We're talking about that he lived with her in 2 ways. First, he lived with her in an atypical manner, and that would be where he forfeits his life, and then he lives with her again, and that's where we'd have the penalty. The penalty. Rava says, but again, Rava has another teretz. He says he never forfeits his life because she said don't kill him, and when according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, which we just had, it says if she says don't kill him, that means that this is not a real murder, and we don't kill him. Rav Papa says that case of Elun Nar Shishlam Knas is not talking about rape. It's talking about when he seduced her. We're talking about a young girl that's seduced. You still have to pay the father. But if it's not rape, then there's no death penalty. Then there's no even if it's coming, there's a death penalty because you're living with the sister, but there's no you can't save him. Why should there be a payment if it's okay? Let's see. Abaya says that the reason over here why he didn't forfeit his life is because you were able to stop him from committing the act without killing him. So that's the case. There's no, you can't. He didn't forfeit his life, and therefore there's a payment. The Tanya was started in the Bryce of Rabbi Yonasan ben Shol. Rabbi Yonasan ben Shol said, we had this earlier in the Masech. The Reid of Shei Reid of Achaver laHargav Yachal Hatzila Be'achan Meivarav LaYitzel Naragalav. Someone is chasing his friend, and he's able to. The victim, is able to turn around and protect him, or someone else is able to protect the person not by shooting him in the head, but by shooting him in the feet. And just without killing him, you could still save the person. So then, if you don't do that, and if you actually kill him, so then you could be killed because of that. That could be considered murder, because you could have stopped him without killing him. Okay, let's leave it over here. We're up to my timer.
Like they were saying with right, like that was generals or whatever.
Yeah, that's where we brought it in last time. Okay, tomorrow I'm actually not going to be here, but I'm going to do I'll do the share from online. That's okay.